what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead, but it really doesn't matter with me now because I've been to the mountaintop.
First of all, if you're going to talk about a revolutionary situation, you have to have people who are physically able to wage revolution, who are physically able to organize and physically able to do all that is done.
We have to find the new African in everybody, in all of us. It's not just about you taking care of your child, it's about you taking care of these children. We could be new African, we got to be black first.
Right.
You understand? We got to get our brothers from the street like Harriet Tubman did. Why can't we look at that and see exactly what she was doing, like Malcolm did?
I think you'll find, sir, that there will come a time when black people wake up and become intellectually independent enough to think for themselves, as other humans are intellectually independent enough to think for themselves. Then the black man will think like a black man, and he will feel for other black people. And this new thinking and feeling will cause black people to stick together. And then at that point, you'll have a situation where when you attack one black man, you are attacking all black men. And this type of black thinking will cause all black people to stick together.
The presentation is from a man, F.A.I.R. Maybe you heard of him. I don't know. He just happened to be a grad student, happened to be the homecoming king for this school year, we see you actually, just happened to be a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, happens to be a man who utilized BMI and has been in it since he's really been here, and it's helped him grow. Not only is he our graduate advisor, but he created this position known as self-knowledge. Without further ado, I give you F.A.I.R. Everybody doing?
Good. That's good to hear. Like you said, thank you guys for coming out. My name is Stephen Samuels, Director of Self-Knowledge for BMI, as well as the Graduate Advisor for BMI. The presentation tonight is for, of course, our Black History Month, which I titled it The Miseducation of the Negro 2K14. There is a difference between education and knowledge. The man that created Black History, or should I say Black African Heritage Week, was the man Carter G. Woodson. He chose February for a specific reason. It wasn't because it was the shortest month or any funny business like we're told sometimes. It was actually because of Frederick Douglass' birthday and Abraham Lincoln's birthday is why he chose February. And today we have Black History Month. I titled the second part, There's a Difference Between Education and Knowledge. Because there is. Understand that education is a system. And they're not going to teach you in the classroom what type of system you are being a partial part of. Understand that when we're in education, you're harnessed. When it comes to knowledge, there is no harnessing. So by a show of hands, I want to know how many people think inside of the box. By a show of hands, who are inside box thinkers? Okay, who are outside of the box thinkers? How many people believe there is no box? Exactly. So understand the realm that I'm going to be touching on today is the one that has no box, no filter. Education is filtered. Understand that education is manipulative. If I could sum up education in the United States of America with one word, it would be propaganda. Most of the things that you are told in education is either false, fabricated, or altered a little bit. And it's altered for a reason. There is a reason that majority of us do not know who we are, what we are living in, or what's going on in the world around us. So today I want to indulge in trying to provide some basic information, but as well as a little more in-depth information that we usually don't come across in what is called the American curriculum. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get on the road. First thing I want you guys to understand is what I already kind of introduced, that I'm not here to lie to you and I'm not here to manipulate you or give you propaganda. Most of the things I say today, I want you to challenge me on it. And what I mean by that, you don't have to believe me. What I would actually like you to do, when you take your notes, go back home and reference this knowledge. Go do your research on this knowledge. And once you're comfortable with it, please spread it. Because understand that if you want to have something from a black person, what do they say you put it? Exactly. We don't read anymore, as well as we don't seek hardly anything but stuff that leads to our demise. So I wanted to let you guys know that get loose, be comfortable, understand that I might say a few things that's outside of your comfort zone. But if it gets you riled up in a way, it might just show us how much you have been miseducated. Because in the United States of America and even in the world, I believe people of African descent are either the most under or miseducated people around. And we are behind. So, I want to first start off by letting you guys know, please understand, before there was history, or like I like to call it, his story, we had African history. Understand that I've conducted my field research here in America, as well as in academia, and I went searching on this campus, where can I find information? And I went looking for information about me or about people that looked like me. I stopped at the VCB, where we get all of our textbooks and information that we use in the classroom. I saw they had the little laminated handout of African and Black history. Can you guys guess what was the first date it started with? It started with 1492. So understand that if you do not care about your history, nobody else will. And understand this system is not going to educate you or your children. And that's why I want you guys to start thinking about the future. Because if you think about only yourself, I don't believe that you're a part of a community. And understand, even right now, we rarely have a community, I believe, because we're selfish. So understand that even where we live today, African people, you have a rich history. You have a rich culture, but it's been stolen from you. So now you have a fabricated culture that's actually sold back to you that we know as hip-hop. That's about the only culture that we have as an African American, if you want to call it that. But I want you guys to realize something. The African American has never been empowered. Never. The African American has never ruled. The African American has never had a nation, a country, a state. I don't believe the African American, and I could prove, you don't even have a race. So understand the focal point that I'm getting to is where you live today, because one of the books, when I finished reading Miseducation of the Negro, ironically a couple years ago, the next book I had picked up was Stolen Legacy, one of the greatest books of Afrocentric culture. And understand, put on your Afrocentric lens, because we are of a people that's stuck in a European lens. So you could call it deaf, because I believe I have depth. I could look through both lenses, and I think you should be able to do it as well. That's educated. But understand that the system you live in today is actually based upon your history. If you can see these two photos at the bottom, example 1 and example 2, which is the United States seal. That's the seal of the United States of America. But y'all see that next to it? That's yours. They took that from you and gave you nothing. So understand this place that we know as Africa, we have been misled about it in its entirety, all the way down to its name. Because this place, before it was called Africa, this entire continent, not nation or state, this entire continent was entitled Ethiopia. And it's the reason that they was entitled Ethiopia. Also, before it was titled Ethiopia, it was actually entitled Alkebulan. So, are you really an African? Are you an Ethiopian? Or what type of people are you? So understand that we have been manipulated. And another point, what is this? Can somebody tell me?
It's supposed to be the Middle East.
Exactly. It's supposed to be the Middle East. When it comes to academia, I believe one of the major points that we have failed behind on is politics. There is no such thing as the Middle East. The middle of what? It's actually where Africa and Asia meets. And understand that the people who live here now, and even at the top, we might call them Arabs or whatever you might want to call them. That's even technically wrong. They are a Western Asian. the crazy part is they know that. But they still wise enough to check, I'm an Arab or whatever the case may be. But they know their heritage. We don't. We can't even name it. So understand this is a political move to take this away from you. Because you want to know why? This is the most, you could say, when it comes to commerce, the most beneficial place on this planet. Because it's where Africa, Asia, and Europe meets. It's where business is really conducted. That's where power is. If you understand what's going on right now, all these wars and all this fighting, is going on here. Because understand, the people that's doing this, they're playing a chess game that you guys are not even a pawn. You're not even on the board. And that's why I'm doing this today, so that you guys can get this reprogramming, because you guys have been misprogrammed. We are programmed. Whether you're talking education or television, pay attention. Next time you turn it on, you see two boxes. One going to say CC for closed captioning. The other one is for paid programming. You're paying to be programmed. 95% of the stuff you see on television is an illusion. Understand what we go through on a daily basis most of the time is an illusion. They made a movie about it. I think it was called The Matrix. And understand that people, you are in the Matrix. And you don't even know it. Get the next one. Now, understand that where would we be if we controlled all of this real estate? Because I told you about that main part up here. But understand that there is not one natural resource on this planet that you cannot find there. What we know as Africa. And the most concentrated place, the most richest place of minerals and resources, we know as the Congo. If this is the place that has the most richest minerals and resources, have minerals that you can only find there, that without those your cell phone wouldn't work, the cameras wouldn't work, your laptop, computers would not work without certain minerals. For example, one is coltan. You can only find it there, as well as rubber. Another one of the major resources we need. So understand that that is a high place of real estate. And if you guys know what a GDP is, that place has the lowest GDP in the world. So it's no reason that the richest place on the planet is the poorest place on the planet. That means you guys are pretty much being hustled. For all my people out there who claim to be hustlers, it seems like you went to the wrong hustle. So understand, this place is huge, it's vast. The second biggest continent on what we know as the globe, behind China. Understand you can fit all of this in there and then still squeeze most of China into this land. That's how huge it is. And this place has a lot of different people. That actually the people that sprouted into the world all originate here. If we did a DNA check, there's nowhere on this planet that we would not find African DNA in any person. I don't care what race, color, creed, whatever you may think. I can find our DNA inside of you. And it's vice versa as well. But understand that if I go to that place I call the Congo, I won't find nothing but pure African, if you want to call it an African. But understand that we populated this entire planet first. Understand that we adapt. Understand science. People adapt to their environments. So when you see certain people from certain places, whether you're talking Asian, because I could go to Africa and find a tribe called the Khoikhoi, and they look identical to an Asian, which we're going to talk about later. But understand, look at these people. Would you call all of them black? Because at this point, I would like, on the count of 3, I would like everybody to say their race on the count of 3. Y'all ready? Just say your race. 1, 2, 3.
Human. Black.
Now understand, we got about how many answers there? Are we lost? You guys just proved my first point for me. Because understand, I heard black the loudest. But understand, the first Pacific Islanders were black. The first Russians were black. The first Australians and Indians. And understand that they don't want you to know that. For a quick analogy to get what's going on here, an old tribe was called, the Tasmanians. They had a population of over 1 million people. You know how many of those people are left today? 0. Because the European Empire committed genocide on their entire civilization. And the crazy part about it, go look up the executive producer who created something called the Tasmanian Devil. He based it off that. And it was crazy ironic. I saw a black man walking earlier today with a book bag on it that had Tweety Bird and Tasmanian Devil on it. How lost are we? So understand that when it comes to phenotypes and genotypes, which we don't like to pay attention in class, but even though there's education, there's jewels in every last one of those classes. Because it's your history and your knowledge and your ancestry, your sciences they're giving you. They had to manipulate it so you won't figure out that's yours. So understand that when we talk about the DNA, there was a lot of things that people of color, the term I like to use, we have a very, very rich and ancient history. Ancient history. In academia, they say you don't have a history. Africa is the black continent because we didn't produce books. Or we didn't do what academia do today, get it published or something. But we did something that's grander. We built structures with all the information on it that you need. But people have to convince you that those structures are nothing or it's just this, that, and the third. But those structures hold the key to your ancestry as well as your future. Understand that some of those structures, for example, of course we know about the pyramids, they're still in 2014 trying to figure out how you built them. Because African people built those pyramids. Built them. They've come to tell you aliens have built it. It was built in other dimensions, which is in a way kind of scientifically correct if you understand brain waves and brain power. But understand, you did that. Look at that brother right over there. You tell me that's not a brother? And understand that we left all of this information, and I asked you guys, what is your race? And y'all couldn't give me one unified answer. So understand when I stated that we have populated the entire world, I mean that we have populated the entire world. If you analyze these structures, as well as our mummies on the bottom, there's only one culture on this planet that has mummified anybody. Have they ever found a mummy in Europe? No. Have they found a mummy anywhere above what we know as Africa? No, they have not. But when we go to places that we know for a fact, such as Mexico, Indonesia, that African people lived, you will find our ancestry. And look at the magnitude and the science of this. And I had a black man tell me today, I don't know how to do math. But brother, you created math. You created words. You created numbers. And it's terrible how far we have gone. In 2014, we think we have made it when we have progressed further than ever. A wise man once told me that every time you think you got the answer, you're further away from the truth. Every time we think we got something, we're actually going in a backwards manner. And understand that the people who did this were the same lineage, you could say. Go to the next one. So like I said, I want to state about this before, because as you can see, and this man who actually published this, as you can see, it's 2012. He actually had a publication for 2014, but it's banned in the United States of America. They don't want you to know it, you can't Google it. But understand that he's scientifically proven, this is a Chinese, the top scientist of China, a Chinese man proved where they come from. He's right now on the run for his life. He proved that Chinese people originated from African people, and they want to murder him. A light bulb should go off in your head and understand what's going on. And this is not something that's new. Like we stated, we have ancient traditions. And this says 6,000 years ago. And understand, we're talking BCE. Some might say before Christ, or some might say before Common Era. And it was before this Common Era. Before this Common Era, you had a history. But do you understand that they have erased it and writing a new one for you every single day. If you do not believe me, it's a website that actually has notes on it. After this, I can give it to you. You could go to that website every day and they will show you what's been changed today about your history. And if y'all understand, textbooks come from Texas. Did y'all hear what they're doing with the textbooks about slavery? Think about your children. Your children are going to know that slaves were just unpaid interns. For the last few slides, this leads me to, do you care? Because if we do not care, nobody will. And we live in capitalism. Understand it, it's all about the money. And we the most people that's the most flamboyant people with the money have the least amount of money.